Hi, Rosie. Hi, Rosie. Hey, 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 hey. We got a nice visit from the Airbnb host's dog in the morning, which is so nice because you know when we travel, we miss Redford. But I couldn't hang out with Rosie too long because it was our last full day in Florida and we had quite a few things to get done. We're back at it today, and actually most of the day is already done. We met with the guy who's going to clear a lot of the property and talked about the trees that we had tagged, and he thinks it's probably pretty much like a day, maybe a little bit over a day of work clearing. And we decided that we're going to try to move the yellow tent because that's probably the most central part of the property where most likely going to put the septic somewhere in that region. We actually have to have quite a bit of space to put the septic in, to have the tank and then the leach field, and it needs to be kind of located in between where we might put the future house and where the RV site's going to be so they can both hook into it. And the tent is just, it's in the way and it's ugly and it's right in the middle of the property, so it's kind of our last big thing before we head home tomorrow. So we're going to try to relocate this. There's a bunch of firewood in there, so that'll be nice when we eventually get the tiny house down here and we can use the wood stove. We'll have plenty of wood. This big pine tree is one of the ones that hopefully we can keep, but it's really going to be up to the septic guy because we can't have trees anywhere near the septic, which is the other challenge. The septic's kind of a whole deal. We had already gone into town twice to go to the hardware store. You getting the anchors out? Mm-hmm. We didn't have any tools here at the property because we flew down, and you don't realize how important the most basic tools are until you're trying to do literally anything and you don't have the tool that you need for the job.
Might be able to move it.
I think so. Pat was able to detach the anchors that held this tent in place through a Category 3 hurricane, which still amazes me. And then we started the process of emptying the contents and moving them to other spots in the property. This was like a fun little discovery process. We really didn't look in here when we originally came and looked at the property before we purchased it. So we had no idea what was in this little tent. We found a bunch of different tarps. There were some wooden shingles, there was a cooler, there was some piping, and quite a bit of firewood that was stacked. Then we decided that it would probably be better if we just lifted and rolled the tent over to the side so that we could have a little bit more space and it would be easier to relocate all of this firewood over to our other shed that has a lean-to that's going to be perfect for firewood storage. This yellow tent might not be the most beautiful thing to look at, but it did survive a hurricane and us dragging it across logs and sticks and all sorts of things. So I'm actually really impressed by how sturdy this structure is. I guess we'll keep it. It will come in handy. I think it looks better already, having that out of the way.
Yeah.
Just opens up this area. That's nice. There's some heavy pieces of wood. This thing wasn't as hard to move as I thought it would be, though. No. Okay. So those are like the ones they use to anchor RVs. At least the shorter ones.
Bigger, yeah.
I think we'll get larger ones for the tiny house, but they worked through the storm, so that's pretty good. We started relocating all of the wood to the side of the white shed, which has this nice lean-to area that's covered, and this was quite a workout.
I'm over my walking goal today.
You're what?
I'm over the walking goal today.
Are you really?
Yeah.
That's funny. See? All you need is farm work. Whoa, whoa. Oh my gosh. It's like 3 inches long.
That's what she said.
Oh, God. Alright, well you can carry this one.
Wow.
Getting some progress though.
Yeah. For the record though, we haven't I come across more you know, spiders in New Jersey than I do here.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
We have not seen a snake yet, and we've been
We have a ton
climbing
of
all over. Yeah, we've seen 3 black widows outside the tiny house this year. I don't know what it is about this year. I've never seen one, and then this year 3. Yeah. But look how good that wood pile looks.
Looks a little bit more organized.
Yeah.
We moving to the tent shed or whatever.
It really opens up this area. I didn't like how boxed in it was, so now I feel like you can feel the space, you know. All right. Keep going with our workout. In the future, I could see us doing a lot more work on the property and spending less time in the gym, just because there's so much physical labor that has to be done on the property, and it's a nice sense of satisfaction when you see it finished. Got a really neat frog here. He's pretty well camouflaged. If he didn't move, I probably wouldn't have seen him. Hi. Aw, neat. And then there was a blue-tailed lizard, but I don't think I'm gonna get him. He was quick. Looks like something living under here. Who knows what? There's a good hole there. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess. Maybe an armadillo? We like this view in the back corner of the property so much that we're pretty sure this is where we want to put the tiny house. It would be nice to have easy access to the shed and the wood and privacy. This is the approximate line for the RV pad, or at least where we would ideally want it. And then we'll see if the soil engineer agrees that it'll be close enough to where the septic can go, because it all depends on the perk test of what parts of the property can support a septic system. So that'll really be the deciding factor. But I think it's a nice view kind of tucked back here behind the shed, as far away from the road as possible. We'll do like a 40 by 40 area, and then all these trees are going to be cleared out. We'll leave some in that back corner there, hopefully give us a little shade. It is another beautiful sunset in Florida. Actually, this is kind of the tail end. I missed the best part. It was all orange and pink. But that seems to be the normal. This is what, our 4th night, and every single night it looks like this. It's pretty neat. We enjoyed our last night at this Airbnb on the lake, and of course kept an eye on the weather because we were going to be flying home the next day. We went through our last look over the plans of where we thought we wanted things to go on the property, and we were going to go back for one last stop before we headed to the airport. Okay, got everything pretty much sorted out. This is a neat old trailer, and you really can't beat that view. Anything with a lake view, even if it's an old trailer. But this was great because we had a shower, so that when we got covered in ticks, we were able to take a shower. We were able to cook a lot of our meals. We only went out for pizza once. That's really not bad. Laundry, that was huge. Oh my gosh, what a difference that made. The shower was great, and then if you're traveling with a family, there's really a lot of space here, so who knows? We might be back. I feel like the way things are moving so slow,
Month stay.
we might have to rent something for like a long-term stay, but we will see.
Wind up and then do that.
All right. We'll go hang out at the property for a little while because our flight's not until 8. We're just walking around. I used my last couple pieces of marker tape. We went through 2 rolls of the red and the orange for all the trees were taken down, so that's a lot. And then Pat's got the spray, so we're marking a couple others that are already leaning. And I think, you know, it's hard for me because I want to try to keep some of the shade so it's not too hot, but at the same time we also have to open up enough so that we have sun for the garden and enough trees so that we can maneuver around and have places to build things. And especially last night I was looking at how much space you need around the septic. Man, that takes a lot of space because you don't want trees too close to the septic or the roots will start to grow into your tank and ruin it. So you really need a lot of room. So I think we're going to have to clear even more space back this way to be able to fit the septic far enough back where it's not somewhere we're going to drive on, it's not near the well, it's not near the garden, and there's no trees around it. So that's really a big space killer. But we're also trying to think about how to open up the front here so that we'll have some north-facing sky, so hopefully we'll be able to use the Starlink for internet, because that's a major thing. We got to have internet because my phone does not work at all here. Pat's phone works here but doesn't work in town, which is funny. I have good service in town but not out here, so that'll be tricky, but it's nice. We're just kind of hanging out, getting a little bit more of a feel for it, a little bit less rushed today because I feel like we've done almost everything that we can do at this point. We're just kind of fine-tuning it, but I really don't want to leave.
It's quiet, nice.
It's
breeze.
such nice weather.
It's like 75, high of 80 today. It's October 26th.
It's hard because I wish we could get the tiny house here and just be able to stay, but it's such a long process to do. It's much longer process than I was expecting to do the permitting, so I'm really trying to conjure up as much patience as I can, but it's not easy. Hopefully when we come back it'll look different. I don't know. It's such a long process to get people out here to do stuff.
Yeah.
It's like months instead of weeks. When the goats aren't screaming and the neighbors' hunting dogs aren't barking, it's very quiet. And hopefully at least this mess will be cleared out, but we will have no shortage of firewood. That's one good thing.
Yeah, it's warm out, so.
I know. We'll have so much firewood, but we'll use it for like 2 weeks out of the year. As I'm looking at a lot of the trees, it's actually really hard to tell which ones are healthy, because this is about the time of year when they start dropping leaves just normally, you know. So I'm looking at the trees and I'm like, are those leaves falling off because it's almost November? Are those leaves falling off because the tree is half dead? You know, it's really hard to tell. Or was it hurricane damage? So it's really just kind of a guessing game. And I don't think we're going to really know probably until the spring when we see what comes back and what makes it through the winter. Especially with like some of the oak limbs. I'm like, I don't know, did the leaves get stripped, or is that just going to be a dead limb that we're going to have to cut off? Probably have to have a tree specialist come out for some of these really big oaks, because you know, the limbs are kind of notorious for rotting, and they're big and heavy. Like the limbs that fell off over here, Pat and I were like, well, maybe when we saw the picture we were like, maybe we can just drag them out of the way, but we can't even get that to budge an inch. It is super heavy and it's all like tangled up. So hopefully our tree guy can get that out of the way so that we can start the process of having the well people and the septic people to be able to drive toward the back of the property. That's the main problem right now, is we kind of lost access because of where this went down. So that's number one priority at this point. We were reluctant to leave, but we had to make sure we had plenty of time to make it to Orlando, just in case there was traffic. But we stopped in town at our favorite coffee spot to try to make ourselves feel a little bit better about having to leave. A little bit of coffee and this cinnamon swirl muffin were just what we needed to boost our spirits and get ready for the flight home. As brief as this trip was, it was so important for us to come down and actually spend time on the property for the first time as the owners and to start to get the vision in our head of what we are working toward. Now we can go home and focus on getting the tiny house ready and all of our stuff ready for the official move. Thank you so much for coming along with us and sharing in the challenges and the fun of this process of developing our Northern Florida property. Thank you so much to our Patreon members for supporting the creation of these videos so that we can share this story with you. We will see you in the next one.
And it's all fair to be where and I'll be there, so don't be scared. Just take a deep breath of air. And 1, 2, 3 to 10, you begin to focus again. And though time flies, we'll have enough to realize this bigger than the both of us.